Alright, so we're going to talk about one of the most awesome products in the InVue portfolio, about the installation of the CT300. This is the CT300 stand. When you first take the stand out of the box, you'll notice a few features on the bottom of the stand. If you plan on mounting the stand, bolt mounting the stand, you would drill a 1-inch diameter hole in the counter surface. If you do not plan on bolt mounting the stand, you would have ordered the adhesive mounting kit for the CT300, which would include these adhesive pads, which you would mount on the areas shown here. Once you decide where you want to mount the unit, you would take your alcohol wipe, comes with your unit. You would clean the surface where you plan on mounting the CT300. If you are using the adhesive mounting pads, you would also wipe the bottom of the unit where the adhesive mounting pads are going to be mounted to make sure you have a secure fit. Once you've determined where you're going to mount the CT300, you would remove these 3 adhesives. These are required even when you're bolt mounting to prevent the unit from spinning because it is a single bolt mount. That single bolt simply gets screwed in to the bottom of your base. A couple of different features on the bottom of the stand. Since you are assuming bolt mounting the unit, you would feed your power cable through the 1-inch diameter hole that you drilled. You also notice these 2 channels here for USB cables. The CT300 stand comes in 2 varieties, with and without USB ports. If the customer chose a USB port version, you have a couple of decisions to make. If they want to route the USB cables through the hole in the fixture, what they would use is our InVue 180-degree USB cable adapter. This was an option you would have ordered separately, and it gets mounted in the USB slot here, that if it's going to go through the counter hole. If they decide they want the USB to go out the back of the unit, they would be using their own cables and simply plug in the back of the unit here. In some situations, a customer may decide that they do not want exposed USB ports. Even if they don't have a USB port version, they're still going to have these access points here. The USB connectors simply aren't populated. They may want to use our optional USB port cover, and that USB port cover simply slides in here. And you would perform these actions before mounting the stand to the table. So once you've installed your USB port covers, if they're needed, once you've installed your 180-degree USB adapters, if they were chosen, and if you've decided to do your adhesive mount, now you're ready to physically mount the stand. You've prepped your surface. If you're using the bolt mount, you would now feed all your cables through the hole in the surface, power cable, USB cables if necessary, and you would simply press down on this unit for about 10 seconds or so to make sure you've got a nice solid fit. If you've decided to bolt mount the unit, you would use the supplied washer and wing nut that came with the unit, and you would securely fasten the CT300 to the counter surface. Again, of course, also making sure that you have it fixed appropriately before you tighten those units. So your CT300 stand is now securely mounted. What you want to do is you want to connect the power supply to the stand. This is the power supply. This is ordered separately by country. Simply plug your stand cable into the power supply cable, as such, if I can do it. And then the power cable that came with your the power supply you ordered for your country. And I'm going to plug that in here. That plugs into the back of the power supply. This is standard power cord you can actually buy in any local store. Then you just plug this into your wall power. Once you plug the CT300 stand in, you should hear an audible chirp. And this indicates that the stand is now active and ready for a tablet to be docked on it. We're going to discuss now about preparing your tablet to be installed in a frame and docking onto your CT300 stand. All right. So this is one of the Lenovo TP10 tablets that are being launched. The frame is being launched with the unit. I'm going to sign into my tablet, and on my tablet is our CT300 application. If you're using a CT300 stand that is charge only, then this step wouldn't be necessary. The first thing you want to do is you want to take the half of the frame that came with the unit. When you receive a CT300 frame, you'll receive 2 halves, and you will receive this particular unit also has a cradle for an EMV charger. Another version of the CT300 stand, which does allow software control, may not necessarily have the charging cradle for a credit card reader. This one happens to have a charging cradle, but the installation process remains the same with or without the charging cradle devices. And then if you did receive a charging cradle frame, it would also come with this security screw for the EMV reader if a customer decides they want that unit to be secured in the frame and not removable. Let's talk about installing a tablet. The first thing you want to do is take your CT300 frame and install it onto the CT300 dock. Okay. So I've installed the frame onto the stand, and the frame actually configures the CT300 stand's operation. And what I mean by that is, if you want the CT300 stand to have an audible alarm versus a silent alarm, you configure that with the frame. If you want the CT300 stand to have the IR key working or not working, you would configure that with our software application. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the process to use to tell the stand I want it to be non-alarming. The default for the CT300 is having an audible alarm. The default for the CT300 stand is to come with the alarm audible, just demonstrated. But I can tell the stand I want it to be non-alarming stand, and the indication for that is my gold is good LED will turn to a green LED. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press my finger for about 5 or 6 seconds onto the button that's located inside the frame. You'll hear about 4 chirps to tell me that the CT300 is now non-alarming when this frame is docked. And as you can see, my LED is now green, indicates the CT300 stand, when this specific frame is docked, will not alarm. The plunger will be lifted. As you can see, I have a fast blinking gold LED light to indicate that it is an alarm indication, but it is a silent alarm. We're not going to get an audible alarm out of that. The next thing you want to do is you want to configure your software application to work with the stand. What you're doing is you're pairing the frame to the tablet that you want installed in the frame. So I'm going to go into my settings on my tablet, and I'm going to make sure my Bluetooth is on. I'm going to go into my Bluetooth devices. I'm going to select Bluetooth on my tablet. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to initiate pairing mode on my stand. I'm going to simply press this button, and you see the blue blinking light on my stand. It means I'm ready to pair. I now see on my list of Bluetooth devices of my tablet, it says InVue Secure Stand. I'm going to pair my stand. It's pairing now. And as it does its pairing operation, eventually what we get is what you'd see in most Bluetooth devices. You'll see it says it's connected. Great. So I'm now connected to my frame. Okay. At this point in time, what I want to do is I want to set the system up to enable so I can undock. So now, once I'm paired, and only once I'm paired, I can now enable my InVue application. I'm going to press on my icon. It says InVue CT300. Okay. It asks me for my name. I'm going to simply put, can the CT300 access my InVue Secure Stand? Of course, the answer is yes. I'm going to label that access. I'm going to enter my name here. In this case, I'm just going to put a test code in there. It's asking me to enter a 6-digit PIN. The default on installing the application is a 6-digit PIN. In this case, I'm just going to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to confirm my 6-digit PIN. Didn't get any errors. I'm going to continue. In this case, it's letting me be aware that I could have enabled or disabled the alarm. We've already gone through that step. You can also do the alarm disable and enablement can occur at any time. It's confirming, do I have my paired, am I now paired with the device, which I am paired, so I can continue to the next step. It's detecting the secure frame. It's now going to ask me for my PIN number. I'm going to enter my PIN number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this case. I'm going to hit my unlock button, and that will release my frame from the stand. And now I am actually ready to install my tablet in the frame. Now the frame is properly paired with this tablet. I'll hit continue, and it goes through a small assembly process. I'll take you through that now. To assemble the tablet in the frame, there are a variety of different methods. For the Lenovo tablet, you're actually going to be installing a USB and a power connector. In some tablet frames, you simply have a wired connector. So I'm going to install these into the Lenovo unit. I'm going to take the half of my frame that has the handle on it. I'm going to install the tablet in my frame like this. Make sure there's no obstructions here so the other half of the frame can come on. I'm going to install my other half of the frame. There we go. I'm now secured. With the Lenovo frame, you have a thumb screw. With some of the other frames, you'll have 2 Phillips screws. In this case, it's a thumb screw. So I'm just going to screw this down using my fingers until it's hand tight. And now my tablet is installed in the frame. I'm going to hit my exit from my application. At this point, I'm now ready to use the system. I'm going to dock my unit onto the CT300. As you can see, because I configured this frame to be non-alarming, as soon as I docked it, the LED turned green. If I configured this tablet to be alarming, this LED would have been gold. I have 2 ways I can undock this. I can undock the tablet from the stand. I can, of course, use my IR key. Gently pull and push to remove it. I'm going to dock it again. Or I can use my software control with my application, of which I'm going to enter my username. I'm going to enter my PIN number. I'm going to select undock. And I'm going to move the tablet from the frame. And your CT300 is ready for use. It is charging the tablet. And if you had an EMV reader installed, you would simply slide it in this cradle, secure it with the screw, if that's what the customer desired, and the EMV reader will also charge at the same time as the tablet when it's docked in the frame. Thank you.